Welcome back! End of month 3. We're going to go over doctors and tests. Now, I would like to go over in detail the blood tests that you may receive, mainly about genetics. It's a lot of words, a lot of funky words. I probably mispronounce them, but they could be nice to know if you ever have something weird. Now, to keep in mind, these things are guessing based on your DNA and baby's DNA that this is the chance they may have it. There are quite a few individuals out in the world that were told they had 90+ chance of getting a genetic mutation of some kind for their baby, and their baby came out ultimately perfectly fine. There are also people that had a very low chance, and it was the opposite. So these are your chances. If you have things like this that run in your family and you want to know, if you want to know and it changes your mind regarding your pregnancy, whatever it may be, great idea to do this. Also a perk these days, you can get to know your baby's sex by 10 weeks. Just throwing that out there. Even my twins. I knew both my twins. I mean, they were the same, but either way. I got to know it. So that's cool. They weren't like that even, 9 years ago with David. You had to get the very specific genetic testing. And just to be clear, in the real birthing world, nobody judges you for wanting to do this genetic testing and having your test come out not the way you planned and you question your decision to keep your pregnancy or no longer. The world may disagree, and that's okay, but that's not their body. That's not their baby. They're not you. They're not your situation. You know what you can handle. You know what you can offer your baby. If you're not in a position to be able to handle that even slightly, don't do it. It's the same as having a child. Having a child is enough responsibility, and having someone with a disability is tenfold. Now, as you've seen probably across social media, disabled parents are superstars. They're amazing, but they're very quick to tell you how burned out, how tired, how many things you have to worry about. And if that just doesn't seem like worth it to you, even for a chance, then don't. Okay? I just want to make that clear right away. And if you are judging other people, put yourself in their shoes a little bit. And if not, that's okay. It's your body. You can do what you want. But please let them do what they want. Okay? Okay. So, first things first. This is the non-invasive prenatal test. I'm going to be reading my notes intensely. I try to always edit this part out, but I will not for this because there are many words. But I know the difference. So this is known as NIPT, which is looking for chromosomal abnormalities, and you can find out your sex because sex is DNA. And like I said, likelihood not exact. And so, what you're looking for is Rh compatibility, which is kind of a big deal. Now, I did not write down what Rh stood for, but I can't remember exactly. Honestly, what I was reading, I don't even think so. But it is essentially something that goes in our body, has no issue with how we live our life as adults, it seems, or even as babies. But the problem with it is that if mom is positive and baby is positive for the Rh, you're going to have problems in your pregnancy. These are people that essentially their body is rejecting the pregnancy and continues, even though your body is literally still continuing to nurture and try to grow the baby, but another part of your body is like, your blood actually is what's like, no thanks, we're good. So this can tend to losing the baby. This can cause something happening to the mom. You come to situations, a lot of blood transfusions if you made it through, things like that. It's really intense. So it's kind of, again, if you're not really willing to go through that, it might be nice to know. Also might be nice to know just to kind of be prepared even if you're willing to. Now, even if one is the other negative, it's fine. It's literally only when both are positive. Another thing you're looking at is trisomy 21, which is Downs. You're also looking at 18, which is Edwards syndrome, Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, and then 13, which is Parnell? I think I did that. Parnell. I'm pretty sure it's Parnell syndrome. All genetic mutations. Kind of a little bit similar, if you will. You're born with, it's the way the egg was formed. There's absolutely nothing you did to do absolutely anything when it comes to chromosomal abnormalities. It is literally just how the egg formed with the sperm. That's it. There's nothing anyone could have done. I also want to make that very clear. This is literally just what's in your DNAs. And if you ever remember doing your Punnett square, it's just a likelihood. It's just, lucky or unlucky, if you will. Now, these tests, specifically the trisomy 21, 18, and 19, have a 97 to 99% accuracy within this test. RH is almost 100% of them. There is a huge list of other things that they look at. And there's also, another thing. But these are the main sections that no matter which test you get, every hospital is different, every lab is different. You can ask them. You can find someone that does, both. I think there's 3 on the market right now. That's what's on all of them. And then the other ones are just like other ones they throw in there. You can ultimately go and get the full workup, which is absolutely everything they can essentially think of for the most part. That can happen from birth. Now, if that comes up with a high chance for anything, the next step you go to is a NT screening. Neutral translucency screening. Now this is going to confirm 100% the chromosomal disorder. Specifically can look at congenital heart defect as well as this because it's an heart ultrasound. And you're going to be going somewhere that has a very intense ultrasound machine. They can tell this because the neutral fold, which is like a little piece in the baby as they grow in the placenta, and if it has fluid, there's some sort of abnormality. If it doesn't, then for the most part you should be good. They've just found this after years and years, many ultrasounds. It's always true if there's fluid there. And then, which isn't so, common, but another step you can do if you don't want to do those 2 steps or you want to, have a blood versus because at this point you would have your original chance sample and then an ultrasound to confirm things. If you want a blood directly from the baby, that is another word I probably use very wrong, but it's your CVS, your chorionic villus sampling. And that is when they take that very, 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 very large needle. Either, I've read that they can take it vaginally, which is a little scary, but any of it's scary, to be quite honest with you. They take a large needle for what I've been told. A majority of individuals will do that through essentially your stomach. It's really right above your uterus. And I did read they can apparently do it vaginally, which I'm sure a professional that actually chooses to do that does it for a reason. They literally poke the babe, take the tiniest sample, take it out, and then they confirm a lot of things like that. There are they like to do that as last option and understand that there is a very high chance for infection with those and something to potentially go wrong because you're disrupting something that's not supposed to see essentially the outside world. I don't personally, and all of my pages are focused on all of things like this, especially disorders, just because I look up on all my socials to see if anybody has these things, and I don't just look at medical journals and research. I actually want to see people that have these. I haven't seen anyone that has them besides a very low amount that had any negative effects from it recently. So that's positive. You are in the hospital and they do have you have an overnight stay. If anything's funky, they keep you longer. They also pay attention to baby the entire time. by ultrasound, and they're paying attention by you. You're going to be hooked up for monitors. I do believe you go to sleep, but I'm not 100% now. And again, you really don't want to go there unless these things are showing severe positivity and you need to know yourself 100%. There are also certain disorders that are very random, that are the other list of disorders that I was talking about, that they will ask you to do this to confirm it, because it's a rare disorder that they need to confirm whether this is true or not with the baby. And again, it's your choice, but it ultimately could prevent you from dying or your baby from dying or getting on something or monitoring something that they necessarily want to monitoring you more, things like that, because they know that they have that. And that's it. That's it for your blood tests. So a little scary, but they do it early on for the reasoning, like I stated, so that they can adjust your pregnancy accordingly to try to monitor and help you through if your decision is to keep, but also allow you to have that decision to not to keep. And you're not a wrong person or a bad parent or a bad person for wanting to do that. Everybody's different. But that's all the tests you're really going to see. You may see the doctor. Again, you're probably going to get an ultrasound, timing ultrasound, like I stated. I would doubt the anatomy scan is anywhere around that. I mean, you can get some personal scans by all means, but anatomy scan is normally like definitely in the second trimester. Usually between 15 and 20 weeks. The provider kind of depends on the provider. I've seen many providers do 15 weeks. Majority of providers I know do 18 to 20, just because you can actually see the sex, and that's what really people want to see. So it's kind of like people pleasing. They can see the parts they need to see by 15 weeks, which is really just making sure baby's at an accurate rate. And by then, bone structure's there, head's the way it should be, the body's fully formed and how it should be. It's not curled so much. You're naturally curling because of the space, but that's not forced like a little tiny fetus and embryo is. But yeah, that's it. Any questions about anything, or you want me to go in detail, especially about this one,